that bit because I haven't really. I
didn't watch the whole show. Where I jumped on is where I literally listened. So
yeah, I'd love to have got Mohammed's and Isa's and take on it, but obviously we sort of ventured off in the end.
Yeah. Let's just finish this conversation, and then maybe we can say a couple of words at the end.
Yeah,
inshallah.
I think Aladdin wants to say something real quick.
Yeah, if you don't mind me, brother Jordan, can I say something, please?
Sure. Pleasure to have you, brother.
Jazakallah khair. First of all, brother Isa, the hadith that you asked me about, that's a weak hadith, and majority of ulama as well call it as munkar hadith. So therefore, when you say it's munkar, it's more than weak, so we don't use it. The hadith
is the one with the ring.
The ring, yeah.
Yeah, it's weak and it's munkar as well. والذي نفسي بيده ما السماوات السبع والأرضين السبع عند الكرسي إلا كحلقة ملقاة في أرض فلات, up to the end of the hadith. This hadith is very, very weak hadith, and it's munkar as well.
Well, I don't know what you said, brother. Can you translate at least, inshallah?
Okay. Let me translate it here in English, so I'll read it for you in English.
Jazakallah, brother.
It says that, by him in whose hand is my soul, the 7 heavens and the 7 earths at the throne are but like a ring lying in a desert, up to the end of the hadith. This is a weak hadith, and it's munkar. So therefore, we don't use it.
Aladdin, do you think that there's anything... is there anything wrong with that particular hadith in what it says?
So, brother Isa, so
the reason I'm asking is because I've heard it so much.
There are other narrations, aren't there, on that?
Yeah.
I have in front of me. That's one of the most popular links that I got from Al-Qura University, which is one of the most popular Islamic university in Mecca, and it's it's authorized by King Saud University, which is one of the most popular and one of the best Islamic universities in the Middle East, which is in Riyadh. They are the one who in charge of this link, which is, we call it durar.net, Durar Saniya. So when you search for the hadith, it says clearly that the hadith is munkar and it's weak hadith. So if you want to search for any hadith, I told you about this, brother Isa, and I gave you the link. This is one of the most authenticated that's been given to me by some of the highly respected, I don't want to mention their names, scholars and ulama in our time from Saudi Arabia. Actually, I was visiting them just last 2 weeks ago, and I was with them.
So this hadith it's showing you the size of the 7 heavens, isn't it? By taking a ring, putting it on the
I'll read it for you. It says it's like a ring in a deserted land. So they said that this hadith is weak hadith and it's munkar. That's it. Right. So I stop at this point because Allah says in the Holy Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of the knowledge. So therefore, when you ask our scholars, like Nawawi, Albani, and other of them, they said that this hadith is weak and munkar. So it's over for us as a Muslim.
Yeah, we don't use it. Yeah, we don't use it.
Bro, I promise you, I've heard this hadith so many times. Many people have, recited this hadith. I mean, I've been a Muslim 12 years, alhamdulillah. I'm just saying, I've heard it. I'm not saying that I use it.
It's not a popular hadith. It is not a popular hadith at all.
To me, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. In my experience, that's why I brought it up, because I've heard it so many times. But alhamdulillah, if it's weak, it's munkar.
You see, they say that it's weak and it's munkar because some of the chain of narrators, they were very well known of lying, of having poor knowledge about hadith, and they are not trustworthy to trust them. So therefore, they consider it as weak hadith. Some of the narrators
word of my teacher. So well with him.
You see, so that's what they say. The chain of narration is very weak. So therefore, it's denied. That's what the scholar says. Now, if you want to know why it's weak, you have to go to the name of the narrator that they reject. We have books we call Kutub al-Jarh wa Ta'dil. In al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, those type of books where you read the complete profile of each and every narrators in our hadith. So when you go to them, you will find their names there, and they will tell you why they deny and they reject the hadith that's been narrated by them. So this hadith is one of those hadith that's been narrated from some of those narrators who they are rejected and considered liars. They have weak memory, etc. So therefore, they reject their hadith. So that's why they call it as a munkar hadith and weak hadith. That's the first point I wanted to tell. Yes,
sorry, go ahead. Next point. I want to hear point 2. I had a question for you, but go ahead. I want to hear point 2. Sorry, brother. Sorry.
Okay. The second point.
I want to clarify that also the Quran clarifies that no one should attribute any statement to Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam unless it is absolutely true. So even if something sounds good, we gotta, you gotta be weary.
ولا تفتروا على الله كذبا. Don't say anything. Don't lie or say anything. And the Prophet Muhammad says, من أفتى فتوى بغير علم فقد تبوأ لنفسه مكانا في النار. If you do fatwa or if you say something which is not attributed to Allah or to our beloved Prophet Muhammad, you guaranteed yourself a place in hellfire, eternal hellfire. That's the hadith. Now, the second point I would like to talk about, it's regarding of da'wah. You are, mashallah, or an Arab da'iyah, mashallah, and I learn a lot from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us in the Holy Quran 2 ways of da'wah. And we have to follow both of them. And we decide among ourselves, according to the person that we are dealing with, which type of da'wah that we have to choose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Nahl, verse 125, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Which means, invite all to the way of the Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, with good manners, and argue not with them except in the best methods, the best ways. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says in Surah Al-Ankabut, if I'm not mistaken, verse 100, I'm not sure about the number of the verse, وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Do not argue or discuss with the people of the book or any non-Muslim except in the best way. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْهُمْ. Except those who made an oppression to the Muslims. So those people who they are arguing with the Muslims just for the sake of argument, such as this lady named Hatun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about them. Allah spoke about them in the Holy Quran in chapter 3. He says, فيه آيات محكمات وأخرى متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله. Those people who they have sickness and disease in their hearts, and they argue with you just to put this sickness and disease in your heart, just to put the doubt in your heart. So such people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us how to deal with them, and He spoke about them in the Holy Quran in Surah Hud, verse 39, or verse I'm not sure, in Surah Hud, verse 38. Yes. إن تسخر قال إن تسخروا منا فإنا نسخر منكم كما تسخرون. If you mock us, yet we mock at you even as ye mock at us. So if they are making fun of us and they are mocking us, and we know that they are mocking us, like this lady Hatun, so therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Hud, verse 38, to deal with her the same way that she's dealing with us, because we are not weak. And Allah gave us an example in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Qalam, verse 13, about Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, who was mocking Allah and Prophet Muhammad. Allah says in verse 13 in Surah Al-Qalam, عُتُلٍّ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ زَنِيمٍ. He called him as a bastard child, bastard man, son, astaghfirullah, whatever you call it, it's in English. So therefore Allah deal with him the same way He was dealing with the Prophet Muhammad, and the same way that He was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the other way of da'wah, which we use much. We use it only with people such as the lady that the title of the video has her name. So this is the way we deal with her according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah says also in Surah Al-Isra, verse 102, about Fir'aun. لَأَظُنَّكَ يَا فِرْعَوْنَ مَثْبُورًا, or Mambura, I cannot remember the verse exactly. Yes, it's a Mathbura. Mathbura means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed him and He threw him out of His mercy. He was mal'oon. He was cursed by Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed him in the Holy Quran because he was cursing Allah. So therefore, this is the way that we have to deal with people such as Hatun. We are not that people who they are always soft. We are not that people, if you slap me on my right chain, I'll give you my left chain. No, Muslims are not like that. Muslims, if you slap me on my right chain unjustly, I'll slap you back. That's justice for us as a Muslim. We are not that smooth and soft people that we let you step on us, we let you insult us, curse us, then we look at you with a smile and we say we have to deal with you with love. No. Still Allah says in Surah Al-An'am, verse 108, it's clearly, Allah says, وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدْوًا مِنْ غَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. Do not bash or mock or curse or insult those who worship other than Allah. Treat them with love, with peace, with kindness. unless they mock you. If they mock you, that's the time we'll answer them back. Allah says also in Surah, can I carry on, please? That's the last point. Allah says in Surah Al-Muttahina, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Which means Allah says Allah does not forbid you from having from among the disbelievers in general. Allah does not forbid you from having them as your friend. Treat them justly and fairly. Here Allah used the term birr, and tabarruhum. The word birr was used in the Holy Quran twice. Once in regard of our parents, do birr to our parents. Second time, do birr to those non-believers who never fought with us in regard of our land or our religion. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to deal with them, to respect them as much as we respect our own parents. You see? So this is the way we do our da'wah as Muslims, inshallah. I hope that answers the question.
Brother Al-Din.
Jazakallah.
MashaAllah. Yes,
brother, before you go, most of these people don't know your background. I know you're humble, you're very respectful, but very shortly, just tell your background with Hadith sciences, please.
No, I don't. Akhi, barakallah fik. I'm the least among you.
You know what? Because anyone, brother, I say this because anyone can come up here and just say these things. And then, who's this guy? Some random person. But you're not some random person. So that's why I say this.
He's not random. He's been on my stream quite a few times.
That's why I say just take 20 seconds, just say who you are, or what you studied.
Yeah, I think I'm the least. I'm the
Don't
least
put him on the spot, man.
knowledge.
It's all good. Yeah.
Yes, don't barakallah fik. I'm the least among you in knowledge. I'm in the field of da'wah and reality for the past almost 28 years, doing it in reality in Southeast Asia, answering misconceptions about Islam, host so many radio programs in Arabic, English, and Filipino language. I was in Saudi Arabia just lately. I just did some programs, TV programs, with some channels in English and in Filipino. And I have my da'wah channel. I don't talk much, ya akhi, always listen to you. And I come only live if it's necessary for me to join you. Regarding hadith, as I told you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So hadith is a deep science. Once someone throw you a claim about Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always says in the Holy Quran 3 times, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Present us the evidence for your claim. If he doesn't have an evidence from Islamic sources, he has no case with us. Once he presents the evidence, we study the evidence with him, and we showed him that he misquoted the evidence. All he has done is a distortions of the evidence, neither hadith or a verse of the Holy Quran, just to fit and suit his needs. And when we answer any misconception about Islam, especially with those non-Muslims, we don't talk much with them. We just try to answer the misconception as short as we can. 3 to 5 minutes, that's enough to answer his misconceptions. We don't give them that much concern to give him the chance to talk much nonsense and to throw more distortions just to prove his point. This is the right way to do da'wah. I don't need to spend 1 hour.
Thank you. It does sound a little bit. It does sound a little bit misconceding. Sorry to interrupt you, bro. Like, because when it comes down to it, like, I appreciate what you've said. It sounds very, refined and well said. But when it comes down to it, I mean, we can have conversations for hours, let alone 3 to 5 minutes, right? Regarding these controversial, these big topics, right? We could have
interlocking and having debates, not conversations.
We can have conversations.
I'm sorry, did I lose
call it debates or whatever you want to call it. But when it comes down to it, bro, yeah, all I'm saying is, like, end of the day, we're gonna have a difference of opinion, right? Especially with these other faiths that are out there, right? So, like, what's the harm in having a conversation that's more than 3 to 5 minutes?
I think he's talking more specifically about certain points. So if you talk to someone for an hour, hopefully it's not about the same exact thing. That would be like,
brother, I was not talking about discussion. I was not talking about discussion with someone. I was talking about the persons who just come. I was talking about just person who's coming just to throw claims like this Hatun, for example. All she's doing is throwing claims again and again, repeating the same topic, and she has her own agenda. So I was referring to the people like Hatun. I was not talking about people who are coming sincerely to have discussion, to learn with us, to share with us. We learn from you as well. as you learn from us. We
Aladdin,
respect that. And I
can
told
I
you
ask
this.
can I ask you a question, Aladdin? Let me ask Aladdin one question, because a non-Muslim asked me lots so long ago, and I didn't know how to answer it. He asked me. He said, Jordan, how much of Islam do you know? 1%. how much would you say you know, Aladdin?
Me, I know nothing. I'm the least among you in knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. That is a good answer. But that's what I'm saying. This is my point. What do we know? What do we really know of God? What do we
I'm the least among you, wallahi. And the least among each and everyone among you. Remember the first thing being revealed to Prophet Muhammad, Iqra. Then after that, at the end of the Iqra بسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان ما علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. Allah spoke about reading, learning, then he connected with al-qalam, pen. So education needs a person to learn, and he needs a ball pen to write down, to memorize and learn what he's studying. So therefore Allah connected learning with the pen. So the first thing being revealed to Prophet Muhammad is to learn. Learn and learn and learn. It's an ocean of knowledge. Whatever we learn, we still know nothing compared to others. So I'm the least among you in knowledge. Believe me, I'm the least among you.
Yeah, but it's very similar to what Socrates. Sorry, it's very similar to what Socrates said, right? Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said that those who know, who say they know, you get me, right? They don't know. Those who say they know nothing, they know. You know what I mean?
I've been watching.
No. Okay. If I do not know, I say I do not know. If I do not know, I say I do not know.
I've been watching Speaker's Corner for a very long time, maybe years and years, and I've also repeated the whole videos and over again, and I've analyzed it a little bit, type of people they are at Speaker's Corner, and I have learned a great amount of how to approach certain people. And I've come to my own conclusion. Maybe you guys have your own conclusion with Speaker's Corner. My conclusion is you have two types of, let's say, non-believers. One type of non-believers who are actually sincere and they're there to learn. And they're quite, they're genuinely there to learn, to understand about other religions, including Islam. But there are also other non-believers who are just there to throw out hate speeches. They just hate Islam. They hate the word Islam. They hate Allah. They hate the Prophet ﷺ. They just feeding
off.
I feel like there's a third type. I really do.
They're just pure. The third type are trolls, but anyway.
No, I wouldn't say trolls. I mean, like you're saying hate. And you're saying sincerely learning,
so
right?
Just hear me out. And these hate preachers, they're not there to exchange dialogues with you. They're there just to listen to you, to reply, rather than listen to understand. So they're just there to mock. And I think you shouldn't even give any day or space, any time for these type of people. If you know that they're not listening to you and understanding what you're saying to them, and they're just blind, deaf, and dumb in their own way, I think you should just not even give them the day and the time. If they're going to drill holes in the Quran, and if they're going to start swearing at the Prophet ﷺ, like, because with me, like there was a time when my parents said it's either us or Islam, and my reply to them was, Mom, Dad, for me, Allah is first, then the Prophet ﷺ, then it's you, Mom, and Dad.
That's so for you, though. That's for you.
Hear me out, because
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me,
that's his thing. Yeah,
I love Allah. Yeah, hear me out. I love Allah.
Well, stop interrupting. Let the brother speak.
Thank you. I love Allah and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ more than my parents and everyone else. So imagine someone swearing at your parents. Some people they can't tolerate that. So how would you think how we feel? Tolerate? No. How can you tolerate? Some people can't tolerate when they're swearing at the parents. How can you tolerate that? But now they're tolerating now they're swearing at someone that is more beloved to you than your own parents. So imagine the great amount of hurt that you'll feel when someone is mocking or swearing at.
I understand the metaphor. I understand the concept.
That's not
really
freedom of speech. That's hate speech. That's hate speech.
I agree, dude. Like I said, the only time, the first time I came online was this time 2 years ago in November, right? When I came, when what's the name? Hatun was literally drilling holes in the Quran and doing her,
which is wrong.
You know what I mean?
Oh, can't nobody drill holes in the Quran? Just
well, she was conducting some sort of actions. You get me, right? In that manner.
She came with. She came with holes in the Quran at Speaker's Corner. They had holes.
She was doing all sorts of things at this time.
She goes, look, the Quran's got holes in it. The Quran, and she's
no, but she was actually drilling holes in the Quran, and I called it desecration, right? And I compared it to how, they looked at how the Muslims would react, right, as a community, and they basically applauded how the Muslims reacted in Speaker's Corner, and I applauded them. Right, because I said, listen, if that was a different community, for example, the Sikh community, and this is our holy scriptures, right, that were being treated in the same manner, we would react very differently, right?
More violently.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we would.
You're talking about when she was like literally drilling holes in the Quran, right?
I'm saying 2 years ago from now.
I thought you meant metaphorically. I do remember that though.
Yeah, literally.
Can I say something?
So, yeah, please.
Sorry, physically, she came to the park with.
I saw it, brother. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it.
No, I will say something before I go to Fajr, inshallah. The brother who asked me how much knowledge do we have, Akhi, let me tell you something. Ulama divided us to 4 types. We have a person, number 1, إنسان يعلم ويعلم بأنه يعلم فهذا عالم فاتبعوه. A person who has knowledge and he knows that he has a knowledge, so such person is a scholar, follow him. إنسان يعلم ولا يعلم بأنه يعلم فهذا نائم فأيقظوه. A person who has knowledge and he doesn't know that he has a knowledge, so he's asleep, wake him up. إنسان لا يعلم ويعلم بأنه لا يعلم فهذا طالب علم فعلموه. A person who doesn't have knowledge and he acknowledges that he has no knowledge, so such person is a person who is a student of knowledge, so educate him and teach him. The last one is إنسان لا يعلم ولا يعلم بأنه لا يعلم فهذا مصيبة فتجنبوه. A person who has no knowledge and he doesn't know that he has no knowledge, so such person is a terrible person, avoid him. You don't need to discuss with him, such as Hatun. Now, the other part you are saying, it's holes in the Holy Quran. Ya Akhi Kareem, you should know what is the difference between the Quran and Mus'haf. Holy Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which no one can put any holes inside it. It's the eternal words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Masahif is the materials that they use to write the Holy Quran on the words of Allah on it. So whatever she did, it's a whole, papers. It's papers. The words of Allah is written in that place. That's Masahif. So let her burn. So we don't care. We don't care, Yakhi. Let her burn it. So what? All she's doing, she's burning a piece of paper. That the word of Allah is written on it. It is Masahif. What we have in our heart is the Holy Quran. Whatever she does with the Mus'haf in her hand, she can never put any hole in the Holy Quran because it is the literal word of Allah. It's not a piece of paper that's the word is written upon. I can bring any piece of paper right now and write Quran on it, then tear it in my hands. Does that mean I destroyed the Holy Quran? No, I didn't. The Holy Quran is still memorized in my head. So you have to do this with such lady in Speaker's Corner. Let her do whatever she wants. Don't mind her.
I agree with you. I agree with you to an extent. But the thing is, brother, I would say, when it comes down to it, any desecration of any text, to get me right, is an abomination. Like, and when it comes down to it, it just reminds me of like Nazi Germany, right? When they were burning books, to get me right. And Jordan M described this in one stream. Like he mentioned this before. He basically said, "Listen, look."